Hey everybody, welcome to another comic book review. In this video, I'll be talking about Compendium 2 of Fables by Bill Willingham. This volume collects issues 42 through 82 of Fables. It's actually a little bigger in terms of size than its previous volume and the other two that come after it. This is the biggest one in the series of the four, compendium editions of Fables. So it picks up right after the events of what we saw in Compendium 1. And basically what starts off this arc is Sinbad arrives in Fabletown, and you get to see the Eastern fables and how basically the Eastern fables have their own version of Fabletown in Baghdad, and you kind of get a little bit more exposure to the different worlds that make up the fairy tale characters, like where they live. It's not just Fabletown. It's not just in New York in this one small community, and it's not just the farm either. It's all these worlds that are in the homelands, which are where all the fable characters came from before they were forced to flee from the homelands once the adversary took over. So this book kind of gives more insight into those other worlds, and it kind of closes one arc of this gigantic story and opens up another. So the majority of this book deals with how are the fables going to invade the homelands and defeat the adversary for good. Because now that we know who the adversary is, it's easier for the fables to take him down. And kind of, as the fables gather intelligence on who really is the adversary, what forces does he have at his disposal, and what can the fables do to combat him, that's kind of where this book is focused. Now, it's cool because this actually has my favorite set of chapters in the entire series so far, and it's called The Good Prince is the name of the arc, and it follows Flycatcher, who was once known as Prince Ambrose, the Frog Prince. And throughout the first compendium, like the majority of the series, for the first time, when you're first kind of introduced to Flycatcher, he's a janitor, and he eats flies all the time, and he's just kind of like, I don't want to say like a bumbling character, but he's very simple, and he is suppressing the memories of what happened to his wife and daughter whenever the homelands were invaded. Basically, the adversary's forces killed all of his family, and he only remembers it whenever he has had too much to drink, and all other times he just completely has forgotten about it. And he's always asking people, where can I find my wife and kids? I'm never going to give up hope. I can find them again. And the community in Fabletown has kind of decided that it would be better if Flycatcher didn't know about the death of his family. And so whenever he does eventually find out for good that his family is dead and not coming back, he decides, rather than repress those memories even further, he's going to face them. And so he steps up and he becomes a king, and he leads an entire army in this battle against the adversary. And he basically like opens up his own kingdom, and it serves as somewhat of a safe haven for any fables that don't want to live in Fabletown and don't want to live on the farm. And just seeing the transformation that Flycatcher goes through as a character, it's brilliant. It's really cool. And honestly, at this point in the series, he is my favorite character, because at first, when you see him, you don't think much of him. He's just kind of funny. He's it doesn't seem like he has a whole lot of depth at first. And then you learn the backstory of his family. And then he learns the backstory of his family. And once he decides that he's not going to run from that anymore, once he faces it and you see what he's capable of and how powerful he can become, it's fantastic. And I'm not going to like spoil anything, but it does some things with his character that I really, really loved. And I don't know. I really, really like that arc. That's like my favorite section of this series so far. Other than that, we do get to see the battle in the homelands, and that's very cool. Prince Charming really steps up as well as a character. He's another one that I was not a huge fan of to begin with, and seeing where he goes, he serves alongside Sinbad in the fight for the homelands, and he really proves himself and becomes somewhat of a favorite, like a fan favorite character, as this particular book goes on. So the evolution of the characters is kind of what I like most about this series so far, because it presents things in like kind of a meandering way. And you get the sense that, things are building, things are stepping up, and you can tell that Bill Willingham, the creator, he knows what he's doing. He has this all planned. But at the same time, it also has a very like life goes on kind of approach to it. It's just like, these are the characters' lives. This is what they do on a day-to-day basis, and just kind of dealing with things as they come. And because of that structure, you get a lot of moments that don't seem to have a lot of significance at first, but they come back around later on, and I really, really like that. So as I said before, this kind of ends one gigantic thing that they had been building up to with this series that Bill Willingham kind of introduced, and he laid the groundwork for a bunch of new things in closing off this one other arc. And this leads to the introduction of a new villain called Mr. Dark, and he kind of comes after the whole battle of the homelands, and once the conflict with the adversary is kind of set to the side, Mr. Dark comes out and brings along a whole new series of troubles for the Fables to deal with. And characters die, and places are built and destroyed and rebuilt. And just kind of my favorite thing about this so far is the character evolution, and seeing how the world evolves as well. Seeing how, like, once conflict arises, once things happen to these characters, to their homes, to whatever, it's the characters are having to figure out, how are we going to solve these problems, and going about it in like very methodical ways that I don't know. I just think it's really, really cool. And it suits the like the scale of the series as well, because it's a huge series. I mean, the size of like these compendium books alone, and the fact that there's 4 of them that are all about the same size, it really speaks to just the magnitude of the series. And at times, I will say it can feel a little bit overstuffed, but the ideas that are overstuffed, or that lead to the series feeling overstuffed, they never overstay their welcome, you know? So yeah, from an art perspective though, the art is great as always. There's a couple guest artists in here that I really liked. Like there's a couple chapters in this compendium that are done by Mike Allred. He does the art for a few chapters in this book, and those are great. But primarily, the main art duties are handled by Mark Buckingham, and he kills it as always. His art is great, and the colors are fantastic, and just the look of it really suits the story that is being told throughout this series. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Fables Compendium 2 by Bill Willingham. Thank you as always for watching. Look forward to more videos in the future, and have a great day.